The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.
Day 19, it's a rest day in Burgos. I'm joined here by my wife and Sherilyn. We've walked about 280 kilometres so far. I think this is roughly the 33% mark done. How do you feel so far?
My legs are feeling it, not my feet. Definitely my leg muscles, my calf muscles are sore, so it's good to have a rest day. But I'm not feeling it as much as I thought I would.
My body kind of knew that it was a rest day. I think I woke up this morning a little bit stiffer, a little bit sorer than I have done other days. I think my body kind of had this rest day factored in. Some days we've been walking sort of the 20 kilometre-ish mark, and we deliberately started slow. When we compare it to the last time we did the Camino, we did 5 days from Sarria to Santiago, and we went straight into 25 kilometre plus days. We're close to 10 years older now than when we did that. Do you notice the difference? Are we doing this better this time?
To be honest, I don't know. That was a 5-day thing. We did a lot of things wrong. It did rain for 4 days of that stint. And the first time we had, I think, all the wrong gear.
Shoes were a big mistake last time.
Mistake, and jackets and all that sort of stuff. We had the wrong gear type, but we're better prepared for this. I think we're going a lot better. We're taking our time with it. We're probably absorbing more around us.
You mentioned the equipment, having the 2 walking sticks. Have you found that to be a significant factor in doing better?
Going up and down hills, they're a great help. Particularly, there are some sections where we had to go from rock to rock, and it was quite a deep drop. So those sticks are really good to help balance. And when it gets really muddy, they're helpful as well if there's a lot of water over the road and things like that. And last time we didn't have that. So we struggled up some hills.
The psychology comes into play as well. Like, when you get up and you think, okay, I've got a 20 kilometre day, and then some days you get up and you've got a 14 kilometre day. To me, the 20 kilometre day is just as easy. It may even be easier than the 14 kilometre day.
Really?
Because I kind of almost have myself mentally prepared for a big day. It's the shorter days where I think, oh, this is just a short day. This is an easy day. I kind of notice my feet and my hip and a few other things more on those days.
I find it the opposite. Those days my pack feels lighter and I feel like my feet could carry me, the whole day. The walk into Burgos was a long walk from the industrial area through, and that was a 19 kilometre day, and I really felt that last, 7K or whatever it was?
Yeah, we're on the cusp of a rest day there. So once again, psychologically, we know we just got to get there, and then we're going to have a break for more than 24 hours. And I think psychology is a big part of how we approach the walk, etc. The first 4 days, we carried all our gear, including Chan. He carried gear as well. And since Zubiri, we've had the porter. That was our plan to do that all along. I think it's smart, given, well, not that we've got a huge amount of gear, but given that it's winter, we've got more gear than you would need in the summer, and, my bad back and knees and things like that, and Chan being young. But psychologically, I think that's played a huge factor. Let's talk towns. Hard to narrow it down to one, but could you sort of give me, after a third of the walk done, top 3 towns and why?
Pamplona, the old city, is one of my favourites. So it was a beautiful city, really nice to walk around, everything you could possibly imagine there, but had a really good vibe, really good feel around the city. Viana, that's another one.
Yeah.
That was a smaller village on top of the hill, but all the restored buildings that have been made into hotels and shops, again, had a really good feeling, but you could really feel the history there when you stayed there. And then the third one is a little bit harder because yesterday we walked through some very, very pretty towns. Whether yesterday or day before, they're starting to blend into one. But San Juan was a very pretty town, as was Arges, very pretty. And Atapuerca was also another pretty town. So that stretch was nice. Small towns, but the old stone buildings, and you can see the remnants of the past there.
I probably sort of line up pretty similar to you. I was blown away by Pamplona. I knew it was going to be a bigger town or a city, and we were just so fortunate with our accommodation that it had us right in the middle of the old city. Had our accommodation been out of the old city, just sort of in the sprawl, I don't think we would have such good perceptions of the city, but just being able to explore those narrow stone streets, the retail and the cafes and the bars were exceptional, the squares. And you're right, the feel of the city was very safe and welcoming. And we even spoke about you could come here for a week of just relax holidays. You probably wouldn't do a whole lot. You'd eat some good food and just have a bit of a wander. But I thought getting over to the stadium was interesting as well. Obviously, we weren't there during the season. You mentioned Viana, and you mentioned things blurring into one. Viana and Navarrete, to me, I know they're two different towns, but they were quite similar. Small, narrow streets, bit of money's been put back into renovations, gentrifying it, beautiful churches, etc. So whether it's Navarrete or Viana, I'm having troubles distinguishing between the two, but I know they're similar and they were both very good. And you're right, yesterday, I think it was, I don't even know how to say, there were Arges. I think we both said, this is quaint. We didn't stay there. It was just a walk through town. I don't even think we stopped for a coffee. I don't think there was anything open, but it did look nice.
People were very friendly in there, and it was very well presented. It was a welcoming place.
But even Carlos was, I thought, had our first town that we stayed in. I was really interested there. Bizcarreta, that was a nice little place to walk through as well. Been impressed with a lot of the towns that we've been in. There's been a few where you sort of walk through, or some that you stayed at, or some that we've just walked through and you think, yeah, okay, this is probably not where you want to be if you had to be here for a while. Favourite hotel, or favourite, I should say, accommodation, because we've had a few forms. And I know at the top of your list was the dormitory in Roncesvalles. Is your favourite?
Being sarcastic there. No, I think Burgos is also a very nice place, historic town. We've only seen the cathedral, but it has some amazing museums and things here. But the apartments here in Burgos would be, I think, my favourite.
Right. Okay.
Followed by maybe in St. Jean, the apartment there, that had a nice space. And then we've stayed in some nice castles, like these houses that have just been renovated that have those whitewashed stone walls inside and wooden floors. They're all very beautiful. They just don't have the space that some of these apartments have had. But third, that's a hard one.
Well, for me, the accommodation, same as you, when we've had the apartments, they've been my pick because of the space. And the kitchen, I think having a kitchen and being able to...
Yes, the third apartment, just came to me. The one in Najera.
Describe it to me.
It was the little town that was nestled into the cliff face.
Oh, okay, yes.
And we had a nice apartment there.
Reminded us of Cappadocia a little bit there.
Yes.
Yeah, that was nice.
And it had a nice historic centre as well.
And we had that, remember that one we described it as the executive suite. Now, the apartment was great, except for two things. Space age shower that we couldn't work, or the panel kept malfunctioning. and it was freezing.
It was no good.
And the owner was not helping us out with the radiators or anything like that. You were from the tropics. You can become accustomed to our...
That was never right.
Yeah, okay. But you're right. When we've had the apartments, they've been the best accommodation. What surprised me about the apartments is they haven't been the most expensive. They've actually been pretty good value.
Yes.
You know, if we're going to pay €20 a bed in a dormitory in an albergue, for the three of us, that's €60. Now, they're not all just €20. Some of them are 25, let's say. So that's €75. Well, to get an apartment, we're paying about sort of 75, 80 for an apartment.
Yes.
Where we've had to go more than that, you know, around the 100 mark has been sort of in some of the smaller towns where there hasn't been a whole lot of options other than the albergue. And we've, you know, obviously there's an economy that's built around the Camino. We're at the shoulder of the season, just at the beginning of the season. So some places haven't yet opened up their accommodation yet, but at the same time, the crowds haven't come through. Okay, walking this time of year, we've walked, you know, the 5 days in December, January. We're walking now March, and we've seen plenty of YouTube videos. We've never experienced walking in peak season. Thoughts around the time of the year to walk it?
In March, it's quiet. You do see other pilgrims every now and then, and you can have a chat, which is nice, but you have your own space, which is nice to have the track to yourself. It also means that in your accommodation, it's not so noisy or anything like that. The weather, it is cold. So every morning we have to put on all the gear, and coming from the tropics, that is a big change.
Yeah.
So if you could blend having warmer weather where you don't have to put on the winter gear but still have a quiet track, that would be perfect. But I do like yesterday when we walked, it was cold in the morning, but it warmed up into a really nice day. So can't really complain except for the days where it rains and it's bitterly cold.
I
and
think
the wind's up.
Have we only had 3 days of...
No, we've had more days of rain. It's just that from the tropics, we're used to that hard driving rain. When it rains here, it will just sprinkle the whole day. And sometimes the wind is up and the rain is just being pushed straight into your face, which is not pleasant.
So would you go more gear and in the cooler time, less people on the path, or would you go less gear, hotter, but more people on the path? And what that might bring, more cafes, more rest stops open, however, much more competition for accommodation.
Like I said, somewhere in between, if there was a magical period in between where you had a bit of a mix of both, because that's something that we've missed out on some of the spaces that are open and operating that are on the track just for pilgrims, like a Donativo or rest stop that normally has a coffee truck or something like that.
All right. Learnings. Any interesting learnings on the Camino so far? Wonderings? Insights?
One learning is when you read on the app that the track is going to be a nice flat track, never believe it. It always has a hill. Always a hill.
Starts with a hill.
Always a hill. Always a hill somewhere to get you going. And then sometimes if it says there's a hill and you think, oh, yes, I'm up and over it, there's more. So never believe that.
Lies. Just lies.
Yes. And some of those hills, like the one we did not too long ago, went for 3K, which was not fun. So that's one learning. The other learning is that you can actually walk a lot further than you think you can. Most people say, oh, I can't walk that far, but you actually can. So it's just a thing we're so used to driving places.
Yeah.
Or using a bike or a scooter or whatever. If you want to get somewhere, you can walk and you can make it in good time.
Like that, the one thing that we've got to do each day is walk. Like that's our one job. Now we're doing, our biggest day I think is 25 kilometres. Our shortest I think was 10 or 12 kilometres. Our average is probably sitting around the 19, 20 kilometre mark. That feels like a good amount, but there's people out on the track that are walking 30 kilometres in a day as well. But that's significant. It's a little bit sort of like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Like 790 kilometres at the start, you just think, wow. But I'm surprised that, like, we've done 284 kilometres so far, just bit by bit by bit by bit. We're working our way through it. Any other interesting things that you want to mention?
I think this time of year, the landscape is stunning. The grass is all green. It's stereotypical idyllic landscape where there's daffodils growing, daisies growing in the grass wild, gerbers growing wild. Some of the wetter parts, there's calla lilies, and even you mentioned there are plants on the side that you'd see at Bunnings for like, $20. So the landscape is actually stunning as you walk. There are snow-capped mountains.
Yes. Vineyards.
Yes, vineyards. You've loved the vineyards, and the birds that just sing that sound like they're from a soundtrack from a movie that are made up. So it is really beautiful if you tune yourself into the landscape. There's constantly something for you to look at. I think that's going to be tested once we've finished the first third. Burgos marks the end of the first third and the beginning of the second.
Yeah. Where
we're into the Meseta, which is a straight flat track where we go through what they call the serial.
So we've done A New Hope.
lanes.
We're about to go into Empire Strikes Back.
Yes, but with no
Death Star.
You walk the track and it means as you're walking, you might not necessarily see your destination, which is why it's called the mind.
So we've done the body. And you mentioned there about like the beautiful environment and birds and landscape, etc. But there's been some times where we've been walking through a city,
yes,
or beside a highway as well, heading into the Meseta. Are we on a path the whole time?
We're on a gravel path, or it might change a bit to some more curated paths, but we're going through fields. As I understand it.
When you're walking, are you listening to anything through Headbuds podcast or anything? You're just sort of taking the whole thing in?
Just taking the whole thing in. I like listening to the birds, and those first few days listening to the river. The river was a constant companion, and it changed from rapids into this soft, burbling sort of brook, which was quite pretty. So I'm quite happy to listen to the sounds of nature rather than a podcast, although the Meseta may change it.
We're on the opposite, like I'm probably 50% of the day don't have anything on, and about 50% of the day I've got a whole stream of podcasts sort of running through my ears, just at a low level, like sort of tune in and tune out to. And I suppose I'm doing that for a variety of reasons. One, it's interesting and keeping up to date and a whole range of things. But yeah, the Meseta, which is that mind part, it could be more testing. So there you have it, a third of the way through the Camino, 790 kilometres from St. John Pied de Port to Santiago de Compostela. At this stage, happy we're doing it?
Yes and no. There are things I'm missing from home. Like I'm at the stage where, okay, pinchos and tapas is all very nice, but
had enough bread.
I've had enough. The bread is beautiful and it's beautiful, but I am missing just a basic piece of toast with butter and Vegemite. And I am missing the taste of chili. I'm missing
our own bed.
Yes, and noodle soup and proper hot water and those sorts of things. So first world problems, but I like it when I'm out on the track. I don't enjoy the city walking. That's probably where headphones would be helpful because it's just like walking through any city to me.
There's a stress to it because not only do you have to sort of get to where you're going the distance, there's the avoiding the people, avoiding the cars, looking after an 8-year-old, those sorts of things as well.
Yeah, there's all of that. I'm happy that, like, it's exciting to think we're, 36 point whatever % through it, whatever it says on the app. And I think I calculated we're about 4 days away from being halfway through.
Right.
Where we hit the official halfway mark. So that's exciting. I kind of wish it'd go a bit quicker, which sounds weird. Like at this point, I want to reach the
Yeah.
end because the constant walk, finding accommodation, you stay in the accommodation, then you do that whole routine again.
The cycle.
And yeah, the rest day's been good to not have to do that. But if you could almost like transport your home with you.
See, I'm really enjoying the experience. I'm loving the fact that we're doing it. I can't wait to see how fit we are by the time we get to the end.
I think we're already fit. It's been, 3 weeks?
I am looking really scruffy, and because I didn't bring a razor. And is there something that you thought you should have brought, or now that you're on, you think, I really should have brought that?
I'm missing my art materials. I like to create and draw every day, but I'm really missing markers. I could only bring some pencils and biros because it's heavy and can't bring a big, heavy marker set. But I'm seeing all these artists doing things with markers and I'm like, I'd love to create something. Not that everyone needs to hear that.
All right, well, let's wrap it up there. I think we've got 9 days until our next rest day, unless we change the plan and factor one in. I think the next 9 days are going to be 9 testing days because it's the Meseta, and I think the kilometres sits between, 17, 19, 20, 22, 25 kilometres over the next 9 days. We've got some ground to cover in the next 9 days. 1/3 of it done. That's our reflections.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.